Right. Hi, my name's Arthur Coll. My student number is C16406984, and I implemented a library system, and specifically the specific use case I implemented was reserve books functionality. So you can just see it here. It's DIT library, and basically we're just implementing reserve books. So if they want to first in the system, for example, if they want to reserve a book before they actually go pick it up at the library, they can. And if they want to unreserve their own book, then they obviously can as well. You just remove it. And basically, I varied from my design a bit, which was my design originally was a DAO kind of pattern type deal, but it didn't really make a lot of sense. So now it's a proper MVC implementation. So we've got our model, which is our DB util, book DB util, our view, which is our list books JSP, which is our JSP, and finally, which handles the view logic, obviously, and then we've got a controller, which is our servlet, which controls the requests. So just to show you from the top here, we have connection handling. So we use connection pooling for our database, which means multiple users can access the application at the same time and the database at the same time, which is good. But you'll see more of that in bookdb. But just down here we have our doGet method, and which handles all the get requests. So with a get request expected to issue have a parameter, the command parameter, which tells the function what we want to do and what functionality they want from the library. So and if they've given no command, just assume they want to list all the books. So yeah, here's our switch statement. This obviously has the business logic and controls the function. So if they're doing list, it calls list books. If they want to reserve, they can use reserve books. And just to show you here, here's our list books function. So because there's not much business logic involved in the list books function, and just listening books in general, all it really does is call our book DB util, and it gets the books, and then it inserts that returns list, which is inserted into this books list, which you can see in our DB util, which is our list books function that was just called. Get books was just called, and yep. And just to show you here, yeah, here's our so yeah, it just creates a new list of books, creates our connection objects, and then it tries to get a connection from the connection pool. And then if it succeeds, we use this SQL statement, select star from books, order by name, which is useful later for reviewing. But yeah, it just selects all the books. It selects all the books from the books table and orders them by name. We create the statement, we execute the statement, and then we get a result object. We then iterate through this result object, and for each iteration and each object we iterate, we get the name, ISBN, and all the data the books table has, and inserts it into a new book object, which you can see here, book temp book equal new book name, ISBN, release date status, which is all just gotten from here, from the results object, get string, and then that book is added to the list of books, which is then returned at the end of it. So just to show you the book class itself, it's very simple. It's just got all the data that's needed, a constructor which takes in all the data, and then finally just getters and setters. Yeah. So like I said, that's returned. Obviously a list of books is returned to our servlet and our controller from our model, which is a book DB util Java. And yeah, then what our servlet does is there's no real business logic involved, like I said, in this scenario, in this use case, not a whole lot. So it just gets the books and it puts them into an attribute of the request, our list of books, which is then returned to our JSP. And here's our JSP. Obviously our JSP handles all the view logic, so what it does here is we're just creating a table, and yeah, we're using Bootstrap because why not use Bootstrap, and yeah, table headers, and then we use JSTL tags here to iterate through that list that's given to us from the servlet. And yeah, for each temp book in books list, we create here, we're just creating that reserve link you saw earlier, which is where you can click and reserve a book or unreserve it. And then down here, which is the important stuff, is just our table, the majority of our table, which is getBook.getName. So we're just using the getter and setters to get the objects put in the table, which is then displayed here, obviously. So that's the output, and there's our little link thing. But yep, that's that, and here's just a little bit of JavaScript, and also, see our test, if the status check is no, just to say, should it be a reserve or should it be an unreserved button there being displayed, obviously. And just to show you the reserve function now, because it's not a lot of business logic in the list books, we just got reserved book, and basically it just gets the book status and the book name from the JSP instead of from the database, obviously, because it needs to know what book's talking about, and it's better to get the status from the JSP than add a database transaction. And then basically, yeah, if the status equals to yes, it sets the status equal to no. So yeah, if the status equals yes, it sets the status no, and otherwise it sets the status equals to yes, and then it just calls the reserve book function in the DB util, which basically just use a parent statement to update the table, whether it's now reserved or unreserved, and then it just calls back list books, which calls back the JSP, which calls back the same JSP, and the value has been changed. So that's it, and thanks for listening, and have a Merry Christmas.